Hey everyone, welcome to our end of the year Google Chrome and Managed Browser Update, produced of course by the Tab Geeks Network. My name is Jesse Nolan, as you all know. My co-host is Steve Larson, and we're here to help you stay up to date on all things Google Workspace and, in this case, Google Chrome. It's my pleasure to introduce Alex Bauer, a Google Chrome wizard over at Google. Alex, welcome to the show.
Nice to meet you guys again. Here.
Yeah, likewise. It's been a while.
Just a couple of months.
A little bit. Our last show was in April for this Chrome update. I do apologize for that. We had hoped to do these quarterly, but life kind of got in the way and we missed them. Hopefully in the new year we'll be able to keep a more of a regular schedule on this, do a quarterly update, and have these updates coming to you. Steve, nice and appropriate Chrome Dino over your shoulder there. Love the new edition.
I know. I thought I had showed this to you before, like a while back, but didn't have a good way to present it. I mean, right now it's standing on top of, two Hibiki boxes right now. So it's, just made it work. I just had to make something work for today. I thought it was a special occasion.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Hibiki boxes are very elegant. Looks nice.
Yeah.
Black with a little red tab on it. I like it. For those who are not watching this on YouTube, go and check it out over on YouTube and hit the subscribe button so that you can find all our videos there. But usually Steve just has his two little Android guys over his shoulder, and now he's got the world famous Chrome Dino on there. So, all right. We've got, about 3,000 topics to discuss today because we haven't said anything since April. So, where do you guys want to start? I mean, normally we would go through and talk about the different topics that are going on, but we figured for this show we can just kind of jump in and get going. I've personally found that when you wind up Alex and just let him go, it's best that I just sit back and relax, and an hour and a half later he'll come up for air and we'll have a show. So let's go.
I mean, I know we ended up talking a lot last time. We went way overboard. Hopefully today we'll stay somewhere within the boundaries. I will say that the Chrome Dinos, every time we do any sort of marketing events, those things fly off like hotcakes. Like people fight for them.
Yeah,
and we've actually had people steal them off of our tables.
I bet. I know some people that went to some Google events and things that were, I think, supposed to be for the display table, they made it into their backpacks. I've heard, but
yes.
If you're listening, folks, you know who you are. You know who you are.
Exactly. People, it's fun times.
I've got one on my laptop here. It's eating into the apple. Unfortunately, I need a mirror one so it can actually be taking a bite of the apple, a mirror reversed one. But I think that y'all should work with Funko and get a Chrome Dino Funko Pop
great.
guy. Would that be awesome?
That would be kind of fun.
All right, I'll trade you the idea for giving me one for free.
At some point, yes.
We'll get on that.
For sure.
All right, let's spin the wheel and pick a topic, any topic. Where do you want to start?
I mean, let's kind of go through the list. I kind of moved a couple of things here and there. So one of the things that we've recently changed, or we're working on right now, I might have mentioned it last time, but as you kind of said, life got in the way, or priorities and so forth, and things got shifted. We're finishing up our DMtoken removal functionality. We hear this very often from customers that, hey, I enrolled this browser and I unenrolled it because I was testing back and forth, and now I can't re-enroll it because it doesn't work. And it's usually we say, hey, have you cleared your DMtoken? And they're like, oh, crap. So then they go and delete it, and then it re-enrolls, right? So we're automating that process of that DMtoken deletion as part of the Chrome Browser Cloud Management and enrollment. I guess for listeners, this is probably a lot more intensive in coverage of Chrome Browser Cloud Management. That is a key focus point for us from the Chrome Enterprise team. Because we believe that that's a much better way to approach Chrome management. So that's why we're talking a lot about that specifically. So we're making the DMtoken removal automated, where if you unenroll a browser from the console, that thing gets deleted automatically, and then if you have an enrollment token present, it'll just re-enroll. And if it doesn't, then it'll just be off the admin console. And that does go hand in hand with the inactive browser deletion policy, which allows you to get rid of browsers that have been put in, machines that have been put in a cabinet or closet, forgotten about for 6 months, and then not doing anything, right? Because that usually happens quite often. So there's that. Let me see what else has been going on. We have a lot of stuff. Right? Just realizing it's overwhelming. A lot of changes. Extensive focus into our console. Another thing that we're releasing is the concept of Chrome Insights Report. This has come out, I think, for Chrome OS, and we're expanding that functionality for Chrome browser. We'll give you some insights such as like how many browsers you enrolled, how many browsers need attention, and so forth. So that's something that we're coming up with. It's currently close to release. A lot of these things that we're talking about are somewhat close to release. Legacy.
What does that go in the cover?
I'm sorry?
What does that go in the cover, the Insights Report?
The Insights Report, I kind of just mentioned it, right? So it's going to be newly enrolled browsers, or browsers that need attention, and browsers that are pending an update. Is I think the startup that we're kind of working on for Insights. I know that they're trying to add more later on, but that's kind of the start right now. I'm trying to see where it is in our admin console, so I can kind of go through it as we kind of talk to. Yeah, so that's kind of some of the things that were from Chrome browser specifically that we're adding. Yeah, browsers that have been signed, browsers that need attention, which would be something like how many browsers have not checked in the last 28 days. Browsers that have a pending update, and then it also notifies you of browsers that have recently enrolled in the console. So that's kind of the start of that.
Yeah, and I'm seeing that now in my console, so it's definitely out there.
Do you see it for Chrome OS, or do you see the tab for Chrome browser? I don't know if it came out, or maybe it's software rolling out, or maybe you're in a special TT.
I followed the instructions in terms of going to Devices, Chrome, Reports, Insight Report, and then...
Do you have a Chrome browser tab?
Chrome browser, let's see. I have devices that need attention. I have all those. Devices, fleet, hardware report.
Yeah,
see. I have devices list. Yeah, okay. So there's it's getting enhanced to include the Chrome browser itself, not just the devices.
And I can share this for you so you can actually see this, what it looks like for now. So take everything I'm sharing, if I'm sharing my screen, with a grain of salt. If anything could be changed at any moment.
Yeah,
but this is kind of what it looks like at the moment for us in our in our beta console.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So you got that extra tab there. Yep. So right now I just have a no tab version.
Yep.
It relates to Chrome OS.
Yep. The next thing that we have is our legacy tech report. This has been kind of...
Well, it's going to be more important. There's a lot of changes coming with the Windows, right?
Yeah, this has kind of come up as part of our conversations with customers when we're kind of ready to break the world with various new policies or new changes.
Break the world. I love that. Break the world. I love that.
And we tell our customers extensively, like, hey, this change is coming out. Please be aware of it, and so forth. People forget about it, and so what this report is, it's kind of like a preview of how much hurt you're going to be in a way. Like, for example, we're deprecating some sort of let me see if I can look in our roadmap. If it kind of so for example, TLS 1.1.
Nice to see how much user pain is going to be inflicted upon your end users when this change comes out, right?
So the idea is to proactively identify either websites that are using a certain technology or devices that are impacted. So as an example of kind of what we were looking into is let's say TLS 1.1 is getting deprecated, right? Or it was deprecating 1.5.
Yeah.
Right. It'd be cool for us to kind of track whatever websites use TLS 1.1 and make a list of that and then present it to you as a report as part of that TLS 1.1 deprecation in the legacy tech report. So that's kind of the idea, right? We're not capturing what the users are doing, but if they're navigating on any site that's using legacy, we can then identify those and notify you. And then hopefully you're a proactive administrator and you look at that report and you're like, oh crap, okay, I need to get these updated as ASAP so I'm not impacted, or I need to hold my browsers on a certain older version. Hopefully you're on the first type of approach and not the second approach. but that's kind of the idea behind that. Or like same site cookie deprecation that we had for some policies on that, right? So things like that.
Where are we going to be able to find this report?
It's going to be somewhere in the admin console. At the moment, I don't know exactly where. It's tagged to be in Trusted Tester very shortly, but I haven't seen. It's kind of like it's Houdini for now. It hasn't shown up to in our console, and I don't know fully where it is. So there's that. One of the things we've heard from customers extensively in our admin console was the fact that we had very narrow limits on our JSON exports for browser details and things like that. And so we have extensively bumped that limit now from, let me see if I can, we had I forget what the lower limit is, but we bumped it to 150,000 entries for the pagination limit, which is, I think, a magnitude of like 10 to 20 or 30 or something like that, the amount of limit, how much is grown from. I think it used to be like 5,000 or something like that. So for some major customers that are like over that limit, yeah.
Yeah, well, not related to the like the JSON data, but there was another limit that I had seen early on in the Chrome browser manager. I think we talked about this last time, right? Like I had more than 20 Chrome profiles, on my device, and they're like, yeah, we didn't expect anyone to have more than 20 Chrome profiles on their device.
Yeah.
Like what are we? So
I think I opened up a feature request for you. I haven't looked into how far it's gone.
I haven't checked to see if that got changed. I haven't validated that, but they did say they're going to increase it.
Yeah, it's in our list. It's definitely in our pipeline for sure.
Yeah.
Next thing on our list is the guides and sign-up flow. So if you pay attention in the admin console, I can actually share my screen so you can share this to some of your viewers and not your listeners. You should definitely watch the webcast because it's better. But if you're on the road, I understand. So what now you'll see if you go into the admin console and go to devices, there is now under Chrome a guide section. This guide section has a Chrome OS specific workflow or in the Chrome browser workflow, and it walks you through all the steps you need to do to set up Chrome Browser Cloud Management. Verify your domain if you haven't verified your domain in the console. Set up your OU structure. It talks about some best practices. Enroll the browsers. Enable the reporting so they don't look like empty records in the console and so forth. So this is version 1 of our guides. Version 2, I know they're working already on improvements to this where they want to make it where it keeps track of where you are in the process. And they want to make it also dynamic. Hey, are you enrolling to use Chrome Browser Management or Chrome OS? Cool, you're doing Chrome Browser Management. I'm not going to show you the Chrome OS stuff because you don't care about it, right? So to be more smarter and more dynamic, or from that perspective.
Awesome.
Additionally, if any of y'all listeners and viewers have signed up for Chrome Browser Cloud Management recently, you might have seen that the sign-up workflow is significantly easier. And for anyone that wants to try out our sign-up workflow. It's really nice. You literally set up, put in an email address and and complete a couple of things like how big is your company, who's your company. Press submit, you get an email. Click on the link to confirm the email, set up a password, and you're in the console. And then from there, you can proceed to verify your domain if you want to. I always tell my customers to verify their domain because they gain a lot more functionality. But you can literally set up browser management in a couple of minutes now instead of what it was before. It's a little more robust too, instead of like when it comes to like conflicts for certain current consoles and so forth. And that also brings the conversation around. We have the concept of flex orgs. I don't know if you ever talked to or covered that in the past, in any of your previous episodes. So if you haven't verified your domain as a customer, you can set up actual multiple consoles for the same domain without validating the domain. So if you want to do like a workspace trial, you can do that. the challenge that brings in, that sometimes you can have Joe Schmo that works in the marketing department or whatever can set up a console and get access to various things, right? And if you do the domain verification and you verify the domain, you can now actually bring all those Flexorgs into one umbrella and stop people from using Flexorgs and setting up rogue consoles, whatever, if you know. So that's why I also highly recommend you verify your domain, because you don't want, Joe Schmo from accounting to set up an admin console for your domain. You want to, as the IT admin, you want to own it and manage it and get the right access to people that need it instead of the other way around.
I love how your voice got super quiet there, like you were telling us some top secret hack.
Yes, for
How
sure.
to prevent Joe Schmo from setting up a workspace account.
Verify your domain.
By Flex, you're referring to the Google Workspace non-email product, yes?
Exactly. So you can do like a Flexorg to get Workspace or Drive or whatever, any of the trials or whatever it is. But yeah.
Right. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I wasn't remembering the name there, so it's pretty cool.
It's the other Flex, not Chrome OS Flex.
Right,
Flex
that's what I was going for.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We definitely recycled some names here and there.
A little bit.
A little bit. We're actually doing pretty good on our list, which is actually pretty cool. Since we're talking about this, I'm going to move one of the things around help articles, since we're talking about guides and so forth.
Ooh.
I know, Steve, you wanted to talk about how we built all articles, right?
Yeah, well, I think it's really around, not just how they're built, but also how they are modified. What's the process to, have those revisions get committed? Because, of course, as we know on those help articles, as you hover over down the right-hand side, like every single line and section, you can comment on, you can give feedback to Google on, right? So, which is really great, because you can really target, what you're commenting on and what's maybe wrong with it, what needs improvement. And, what does that process look like? So once we submit that feedback, once we create a ticket, whatever it is that we do, what happens internally at Google with those submissions, and, how does that get changed? Who changes it? How many different, people does it need to go through? Those kind of things.
Yeah. That actual line-by-line thing is recent. I think in the past 6 months that came out or something like that.
Yeah. Within the last year or so, I think. It's
So a lot of the customer-facing documentation is actually built by us, our customer engineers or the SMEs that work on various products. So, for example, if you've ever seen any of the how to enroll into Chrome Browser Cloud Management for Jamf, Mozo, or whatever it may be, Workspace ONE, I wrote all of the documentation. However, the way it works is we build these documents, these kind of drafts with all these things that we want to put out on our support page, and then we open up a ticket internally. It goes into our documentation team, and our documentation team takes a look at it and rewrites some of it if needed to make sure that it's in the correct language. B, it's in the correct structure that they consider as part of Google standard. They will apply the correct, iconography, is that the right word, right? Yeah. The right arrows and things like that. And then we go back and forth a few times.
Yeah, and so that team there, you actually could say that's kind of like if you're looking at a jobs role, those are your technical writers. Then I guess you'd say that they're reviewing, they're kind of the editors of technical documentation. Whereas, you as the engineer, you're creating that initial, the initial kind of flow, and like this is how it should be, and they're kind of polishing it off, and they're finalizing everything. So that's kind of how that works. Okay.
Yeah. So they do the final polish. So we go back and forth a few times, and once we're good to go, they give us a public draft of what it looks like. We say yay, kind of like gladiator style, right? Thumbs up, and now once we give the thumbs up, they say, all right, it's published, and then after that, they actually send it to various, I'm assuming, other teams that do all of the translation. So you'll notice that Google is anti-images in their support documentation, and I've learned this while being here that's on purpose in a way. Because pictures are hard to translate and also put for accessibility and so forth, right? Text
Can't
is
localize
easy
it based on the domain they're going to?
Yeah.
But if you want to localize it, then you have to have access to the console or whatever to go and take 50 different pictures, localized for each different language.
Interesting.
If you have the text only, then the text is easier. We've been able to accept a few pictures here and there where it's self-explanatory, but normally that's what I've learned is that it's a lot more because of we want to make sure that everyone's able to understand our documentation. Now,
All right, so I'm going to start a new blog series where I just take Google Help articles and put in screenshots on my own blogs, and then I'll be the better US based because we're in English blogs for Google support.
I was gonna say that. Wow, I think I just. Okay, sorry. I just my echo. I turned on my noise cancellation.
You hit
I
pass
heard all of a sudden I hear weird. No, I had the non-pass through. But yeah, where are we? Yeah, pictures. We've been able to get some pictures here and there, but some thoughts, schools of thought are like I'm personally on the same approach. Is that I learn better from pictures, right? So we're trying to always negotiate that balance with our documentation team. Like, hey, we need more pictures here and there. But some people learn better from text.
I do generally agree though with the picture side of things because not including them, just because that there's so many. There's the UI updates happen. I think often,
so
and it's tough to keep up to date with that. Whereas the text explanation often can remain more consistent, longer. Longer.
Yeah.
Even though the UI might change, the way it looks, the explanation of it is probably not going to change as rapidly as the UI. I think.
You're spot on with that. That's one of the other things, right? If we changed our UI so many times since I've been here, and I'm thinking of even other products when I used to work at one of our not competitors, another company, right? In the past, their product changed so many times in the UI. Even I look now and I'm like, wow, where is this stuff? So text, you can easily, hey, go change this line. Done, right? Pictures, now I gotta go regenerate, make sure it's the right resolution and quality. Now I gotta go sign in and change my language 50 times. It's a laborious process.
I think it's worthwhile personally. As somebody who learns directly from looking at pictures, yes. I think that it's Google. Like, come on.
Mm-hmm. That's for sure. But yeah, it's always going to be a process for us to work with them. We're pushing them, so. But I agree with you, and I'm always pushing for that as well. Since we're talking about UIs, we can actually talk about that. We're working on overhauling the UI of our console extensively. This is for Chrome OS, I guess, applicable as well. I don't know if you've seen this, but if not, I'm gonna. Sorry, listeners. So once again, you should watch this episode because it's better than listening. But the users and browser settings, I know that there's been a lot of feedback that classic view. Let me just switch to that. It can be a little.
This has been in beta forever.
I know, a little overbearing, right? And now they're putting the final touch-ups on this. It's a much cleaner UI. I also gave feedback around how this is handled, but this is gonna be overhauled even more a little bit once we bring the group-based, and we can talk about that later. But group-based assignment of things, right? But this is a lot cleaner, at least to digest what's what and where it's inherited and so forth. A lot of customers when I talk to, they're like, "Oh, I reset the setting. It's back to default." No, you're still applying it because it says locally applied. Now you can easily see this because people just never pay attention under the policy name, right? And filter by platform by just seeing what's on and off. So that's our console UI. We also have a new overhaul for apps and extensions. I don't know if you've seen this one. There's the details one. So if I click on the this one in here, if I click on an extension, you now have all the details in here. So there's permissions and so forth. Some of the stuff is unreleased, so don't. I'm gonna navigate away. But
am I allowed to share this in the recording?
Yeah, you can.
Screenshots. Okay,
it was quick.
It's fine. It's quick. Yeah. But Yeah.
3 second. The 3 second rule, right?
3 second rule. Yes. I know how. Yeah, Jesse's like, oh crap. We got
He's like,
Alex
I
again.
gotta edit
Oh
now.
man, Alex is dropping mines left and right.
You know what? I like being in a position when the Google Comms team hears, "Oh, you're going to
Hey.
be on Google Workspace Recap."
Yeah.
Sure, no problem. I don't want that to change.
No,
I don't want to
but
piss anyone off over there.
no, you're not pissing. You'll see this. Another thing that you'll probably see soon coming out is the extension request. I think we talked about it last time. We're working on finalizing. This is another UI overhaul in a way to bring in. This has been overhauled. So if you click in here, now it actually takes you for the report. It tells you who's requested it, which browsers they are, and so forth, right? And you can set up a policy. But it looks a little cleaner, and it will show up your justification here as well once we have that feature polished up. So you'll be able to say, yes, I want honey coupon clipping because I need to shop at work. So then your admin
Except
can
that Google
say,
just added that.
no, you shall not. All right. So,
Actually, one of the previous IT managers from Honey is part of Mac Admins, and is over there. Yeah,
yeah,
pretty-
he's
and
probably
better
works
IT.
for eBay or PayPal now, right? They
he
all own
did.
him.
Yeah, right, correct. They acquired him, and he worked for them for a while, but he's since moved on to another company. But has a lot of history from that transition between Honey and eBay. Yep.
Yeah. So there's that. Cool.
So
Next
let's go
on
back
our
to
list.
Meow the cat pet.
Meow.
I've just discovered this today. I learned.
It's in our
Thanks.
report.
Thanks to you. Well, it
what's
was
this
on
all
your
about?
screen that you shared.
There's also Tabby Cat. If
Tabby
you're kind of
cat.
going
I'm
on
not
tab.
familiar with Tabby cat.
I don't know. It's
I
some
feel
of our
like this is very important information.
some of our testers are bringing in various random extensions, such as Meow the Cat Pet. I mean, we can look at it to see what it is, and view this in the store. And this is a virtual cat pet that walks on your screen. Oh my god! This brings back memories,
Right?
not good ones. Also, yeah, back from Windows, 98 XP when you
Yep.
were having. Yep. Yeah.
Was it desktop toys? The
Yes, yes, yes. So
Love those.
that's probably what you. Yes, what I'm thinking of. Yes, those are various random extensions we add to our console. I use this console for all my demos for my customers. So we also want to show our customers that hey, you might have some things that you probably don't want to have in a work environment. So you want to block these, right? That report, the apps and extension report, I jokingly call it Pandora's box on my call with customers, because if
Be
you're
afraid.
courageous enough not to block all extensions and do extension control, you're pretty much opening Pandora's box. And usually, what InfoSec starts getting really twitchy once they start seeing this, right?
Oh,
We
yeah.
have this at work. What? Block. So yeah. Cool. So we covered that. We're like halfway down our list almost. We're doing pretty good.
Yeah, we're good.
So we're not going to do 3 hours like last time.
That remains to be seen.
Well, I think we probably might do 3 hours in total, given that it took us an hour to get started. So,
Hardly.
I mean, that's not my fault.
Whatever,
That's
it's
Jesse's
close.
fault. But
this time it
speaking
was
of,
Jesse. It's usually me. It's usually me that's the late to
Yeah.
the
That was
show.
me. I was having some technical difficulties. I killed the process and it wreaked havoc. So sorry.
fantastic. Speaking of reporting and things like that, we recently launched the concept of connectors. I don't know if we talked about these, but customers are starting to really like these. We have 3 different connectors currently live: Splunk, CrowdStrike Falcon, and Palo Alto, whatever they have it, Cortex XDR or whatever. So what you can do now is set up various browser events to be sent automatically from the admin console to your SIEM tool, right? There are some various technical requirements from that, such as your tool has to be externally accessible because it's going from our admin console, not from the device. But the setup itself is fairly simple. A couple of clicks and you're done. And what happens is, for example, a user navigates to a safe browsing site, that beautiful red screen that says, please don't go here, it's a hacked website, please don't go. And customers say, yes, I want to get hacked, I'm going to go here, right? Please hack me. Those events get tracked. or when they're downloading malicious content that can be sent and audited and sent to as a log. We can also send out logs such as let's look in here. Set up I'll select it. There you go. So you can do malware transfer. Some of these depend on Beyond Corp Enterprise, but most of them are out of the box, work for free. So we're working on adding browser crash, password reuse, password has been changed, password is part of the data breach, sensitive data transfer, that's Beyond Corp Enterprise, right? And so forth. So it's quite extensive. All right, type of events that you can send out.
Yeah.
Amazing.
The other thing that we have in here is the connector that we're working on, for example, with Okta and Ping, where we are it's going to be part of the zero trust behavior, where you can use the browser as an additional data point as part of your device trust decision, whether you do MFA or not, and so forth. So a lot of effort into the whole security and connectors piece. You'll see even more stuff next year.
Amazing.
On that. That was easy. Now we're getting to some more hardcore topics. I'm going to do this one because it's easy. Enhanced safe browsing. I know we've heard from a lot of customers that they weren't able to see the option for enhanced safe browsing in the dropdown in the console.
Yeah, that got added a while ago. I saw that. Yeah. I saw that a while ago. I noticed I was adding that to my list of settings that I saw in the console, and that got added. I thought it was a while ago, actually.
Yeah,
it was probably
in the
three
last,
months ago.
Yeah, in the last few months.
Yeah,
I know that they're also trying to add a card in the console in the UX where it will show you new policies and new things. But this one was really requested by a lot of customers, so it's there.
Yeah, that's actually a good point you bring up there, because I think not enough people know where to find out about the updates. They don't know to go to look at the enterprise updates section and say, oh, there's new policies in the console, and what are those? You're just going to the console, and that's what you're doing day to day. That's where you look. So somehow being able to highlight those new values would be great.
Yeah.
If you can have it, a banner up top, or you highlight those new settings in the console for a month or two or something like that to say, hey, this is a new one. Something like that would be great to see.
Yeah, I know that they're working on, because I gave feedback on something to one of the Chrome OS UX, and they're like, yeah, we're doing this. And I was like, yes. So, on that, speaking of updates, I just remember this, and Jesse probably smart because I added it to our list. I don't know if you've talked about this. I'm going to shamelessly plug this website, even though it's not a Google website. I really like it. This is the flagthis.com website /updates. It's fantastic. I know that we talked in the past about using our APIs to see what browser versions are getting rolled out and so forth.
That looks nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry, Jesse. You look like you're talking. I didn't hear anything. Sorry.
No, I was like in shock. This is awesome.
This thing is like, when I first saw this, it actually made the news on Gizmodo or something, and I saw this, I was like, holy. Expellatives. This is fantastic. I actually gave the developer a lot of feedback. I'm gonna put this in the chat so you guys have it. The developer is
boom.
The developer is fantastic. I'm gonna say they because I don't know if they're girl or boy or whatever they identify as. They're fantastic at adding updates. Initially, they didn't have all the update tracker in here. Some of them. So now if we're talking about, hey, Chrome is rolling out a new build, what's the build that's rolling out? Cool, build 79 is at 1% and 120 it's going out for 99% and so forth. You can see all this information for each platform, right? So I showed this website for a lot of my customers, even though it's just this top part. But I know you guys do a lot of workspace recap where you talk about Chrome OS stuff as well. Yeah. And for your Chrome OS piece, this is awesome. Because you can actually... One of the things I don't know if you know, if I'm choosing this platform, it shows me the build, and now I can download the build as well. You have the link somewhere to download. Oh, there you go. The recoveries. You can download the recoveries for each build on the bottom.
So did this? So Roy, that's who it looks like the creator of this is.
It's a generic name for the creator.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, I
Roy
asked them who they
Thomas.
were, and they didn't want to tell me their name.
Oh, really?
Really?
Wow. Okay.
They want to stay anonymous, which is great for them. But yeah,
Okay. Okay.
and you can. What's also cool is on the bottom. See the change log. They filter by Chrome OS changes, but you can actually see some changes that are done. All right, disable experiment on Mac, or this build, right, or whatever it may be, right. So it's really cool that it shows you some of the changes that have been done if they're somewhat applicable for important, like this one.
Yeah.
So now you can very easily keep the see the change, who was done, who it was done by, and so forth.
This is incredible.
So it's an amazing website. So if you haven't heard of it,
I didn't even know there's like another version of Canary. There's Canary Asan. What is that?
I don't even know what that is.
It's
It looks like a Chrome. It looks like some Chrome OS thing for lacrosse. That's probably why. This is also useful too. I don't know if you guys have seen our A/B testing for updates. We talked about it's been a long time. Have we talked about that?
I don't know if we have.
Any major rollout, if we go from 108 to 109 or 110 and so forth, you might see 3 builds of Windows Chrome. It might be like build 65, 60,
This sounds familiar.
65, 66, 67, or whatever. 65 and 66 are AB. I don't know if they're doing some sort of a logic to see how many are rolling back and so forth. And 67 is the final build, even though they're the same code base.
Okay.
Right? So this website will show you those 3 releases, which is why I'm mentioning it in here.
Oh, wow.
It's cool. You'll see that in their Chrome release notes as well, but yeah. New download UX is coming up on Chrome. It's sometime soon. So we're overhauling a little bit of the UI of the browser. If I know I mentioned last episode, if you haven't signed up for the Chrome Enterprise release notes, please do, because a lot of these things that we're talking about are covered in there. So that way you don't get any surprises. Network sandboxing for Windows is coming up shortly as well. So now the network layer for Chrome will have its own process. There is a policy that you can use to disable that or turn it on from an enterprise perspective. And I know that they're probably going to keep that policy for a while until they deem it unnecessary. But yeah.
Oh, speaking of policies and profiles and all that stuff, I think, in between the last time we were here and now, there was that whole issue of, Chrome profile syncing and how that was presented to users and whether or not they clicked sync or not and ticked this box.
Yeah.
It seems like, there's still little remnants of that popping up here and there. But overall, from my perspective, though, seems like it seems to have fixed it. It seems to have improved and gotten better. So what was the kind of story behind that? I mean, obviously it rolled out with some things that weren't ideal from a user perspective. A lot of users, didn't select the right things. So yeah, what's the story on that one?
Yeah, so from my understanding was that there was some policy that was Chrome OS specific only, and it was in the console, and we weren't aware that it's Chrome OS specific, and it actually ended up impacting us. And when that was enabled, it was triggering all sorts of profile rebuild and so forth. So that's kind of when that happened. I know that they're still trying to figure out that whole workflow and clean it up.
Yeah.
I don't have the final details on what the process will be for that, but they're definitely working on streamlining the signing process.
Yeah, but I think it's gotten better. I mean, I've seen. I think
you have a lot of controls now.
You can still merge those profiles now, which is good, because that was the one thing that I didn't want to lose, was the ability to, bring that information into the corporate profile, which I think was, what was, we didn't want to see that go away. But of course, from the
definitely
user perspective,
policies.
we understood that, like, hey, they want to separate that. That's fine. But, we need a way to also merge it.
Yeah, there's definitely the policy that we have in the console related to sign-in interception, and this is one of them. And so, then there's one policy that encourages you to set up a new profile, right?
Mhm.
There's
Yep.
also the separate profile that forces you to separate profiles if you're signing into a different account. So those are some of the things that are related as part of that change as well that
Right.
came out as policy.
Yeah, that forcing a separate profile when you're signing a new account, I think that's one that most orgs should implement, really.
Yeah. Next thing on our list is Chrome Cert Root Store. We're kind of bringing that into our own. We're going to have our own cert, root store in Chrome. There is a policy that allows you to not use that cert root store for now. I'm going to give you, Jesse, the link to it if you care.
Thank you.
But I will mention that, cert root store enabled. I'm going to give you the link. I think this is set up to deprecate in Chrome 113. So it's a temporary policy. So ultimately, you should start getting compliant with that versus just using the policy to bypass bypass things. So we have our own built-in certificate verifier to verify the server certs. It's more about elevating the security and building that trust versus, so that's kind of what we're doing, a lot of those things. We have just a few things left, so let's kind of roll the dice. DLP AV integration. I think I mentioned that last time. We're getting very close to this one. I think it's actually mentioned in the Chrome 109 release notes. You might see it. I know 109 is not out yet, but I guess since I got to look at those. We're building APIs for AV and DLP type solutions. You can probably, I'm not going to throw shade, but you know who they are. Normally,
does this kind of relate to the Chrome OS data controls that we saw coming out?
No, this is different.
It's completely separate. Okay.
This is completely different. So what this does is it instead of those tools injecting code into Chrome real time to check for like malicious whatever they're doing, we're giving them APIs that gives them direct access into the browser. So then they didn't break the browser every time or break their product every time the browser updates. Because we know a couple of them that they literally have to update their software every single time Chrome updates to make sure that they're compliant to things like that. So that doesn't. So we're trying to prevent things like that. And a lot of times what we've seen is those code injection things would break the browser, would crash the browser, or things like that, and just lead to an improper user experience, right? Or an optimal user experience. Right. All right, let's look at, I don't know, Manifest v3. I know that one's a thorn and to some folks' side. You've probably seen the news that Manifest v3 has been delayed a little bit. We're still planning on implementing it, but there's a little bit more breathing room for extension builders and so forth.
Yep.
As an enterprise customer, I still recommend our customers to push the extensions that they have, right, to be compliant with Manifest v3. So that's kind of what I wanted to cover in here. Just because we delayed,
that's been a couple of years. I mean, that 2020 was when this was initially published, I think, right?
Yeah. As I said, just because it's delayed, don't sleep on it. Speaking of that, is reminder that we are deprecating Chrome support for Windows 7, 8, and 8.1 early next year, and that also includes Windows 2012. So,
I think we talked about everything about the 2012, didn't we, Jesse, on some of the updates?
Yep.
Previously.
Yeah.
2012
is technically built on 8.1 codebase, right? So, yeah. I know that I don't remember exactly what the timeline is on those, but it's early next year.
Yeah, it is.
God, it's
Yeah,
so
it's
weird.
just around the corner.
Yeah, just around the corner. But I think
Few
we've talked
days
about
away.
this, and customers haven't been paying attention to this. And now we're hearing from customers like, "Oh crap, we got like 5,000 devices." Well, whoops.
Yeah, we've been talking about it for 2 years now.
Yep.
Yeah, I think also customers really forget the fact that server is built on a lot of the time, most of the time, right? Server is built on the consumer code base, and they don't associate
Sure.
those together, right? I mean,
Mind
Server 2012 is Windows 8. Windows Server 2010 was Windows 7, right? Or whatever
Yeah.
yeah, which you can kind of flip that and say they're all based on what NT6 or NT5 or whatever, right?
3.1.
Cool.
I believe
Group-based
the drop dead date is February 7th, 2023, from 110.
I
That is a
believe-
few
Right
weeks away.
around the corner,
Yeah.
folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I myself will admit I still have a bunch of Windows 7 devices in the field that have been
Oh, wow.
slowly being plucked out of production and replaced with Chrome boxes.
There you go.
Smart. Next thing
Yeah.
is let's kind of talk about group-based assignment. This one's really cool. You probably have seen that you can do group-based assignment of extensions by user groups. And early next year, I think, is the plan right now to start rolling in TT is, or I say TT is our trusted tester or beta program. So for folks that don't know, if I say TT, that's beta, for group-based policy assignment, which is going to be awesome. I know a lot of people were requesting for this, which for customers thinking of Chrome management or even Chrome OS management, if you thought that was complex, there are groups in there, and now you got a party, right?
Yep. Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
So,
I mean, yeah, you love it and hate it all at the same time. I've really avoided using group-based policy approach for that reason, because the OU structure has been around for so long, because the OU approach has been around for so long, that's kind of how you've built things. And yeah, adding in group-based policies to the mix of that, it's like, I think what becomes difficult in the way that the admin console now is currently designed is understanding when you have, that overlap between a user and an OU and a policy and a group. And if they're a member of that group, it's hard. I mean, I don't know how you easily, visualize that to someone, but it's difficult to kind of present that.
The best part is that groups always overtake everything else, right? But you gotta also remember...
Right. You have that hierarchy to understand, right?
You got the hierarchy, and I mean, I'll be honest, if we look at our console, you can... I'm going to put the user hat on in here, so don't take my words. I mean, I work for Google, but these are my personal views. Right? It can be easily confusing, right? Where's the groups at?
Yeah.
Right? People usually forget about the groups things, and if there's a group already configured, they'll forget to look into it, right?
Yep.
And so this is where this, as you said, can become challenging to remember to look into groups as well if you're troubleshooting certain things, right? But now you can also have to think like, oh, I'm only deploying this extension for one person or two people. I don't necessarily need to build OUs now because that really complicated things in the past, right?
It did, yeah.
You have those mutually exclusive Venn diagrams that...
Right, yeah, you'd have the OU, the sub-OU of an OU that they might have been in, or you couldn't move them because they had to be in the other OU because of certain other, preconditions or policies that they had
exactly.
Yeah.
Or let's say you have 5 people that have extension A, 10 people that have extension B, and now 2 people need both extensions. Now you're screwed. Now you got to do one extra OU, right?
Right.
So that simplifies things.
Yeah.
I'm really curious how I'm actually writing some of the documentation for the group-based policy stuff. But I'm really curious to see end to end how this is going to behave from the policy perspective. But lots and lots of cool things coming down the pipeline on that. We have only 3 more things. We actually blew through this really fast.
That's good.
But
That's good. I'm getting hungry, so I'm
not going to jinx it because Jesse might blow this out of.
No.
So let's talk about 3 other things. We only have 3 things, right? Updater. So for the Mac OS population, also known as Keystone, right? So you'll probably see in the release notes for Chrome 109 when that comes out. In the next few weeks, there's no official timeline. You will see that. You don't see because it's actually behind the scenes, right? Google Update is getting, and I might have mentioned that on a previous episode. The Google Update is getting completely overhauled with a completely new Chromium-based technology versus the previous version. So that's version, I think, 4 of how we call it internally, version 4 of that product. But now it also brings in the code base together for all platforms. So now you have Mac OS does not use Keystone anymore. It will use Google Updater, or whatever the official title will be for it, or Google Update or Updater, whatever. But that's going to slowly roll out. I believe Mac OS is going out first and then slowly roll out to the rest of the platforms. But for you folks, listeners and watchers that are using Keystone, for now, I understand that there's business as usual. There's going to be some internal redirects from Keystone services to that process, to that Google Update. But long term, we're going to be making some changes. I am actively working with our friends at Jamf. Shameless plug. And our and some of our other friends at some other vendors, right, to make sure that they're not impacted by this. I know Jamf, for example, has a Keystone payload in their console for managing updates. So we're going to make sure that we now have a policy for that as well and so forth. But it's coming down the pipeline, and it's going to be much, much better. It's going to enable us to do some really cool things from an update perspective. It's going to be more reliable too. So there's that. And we only have 2 more things that are kind of intertwined. I mentioned probably this extension in the past, right, for you guys, the Windows Accounts extension. I think I did it on one of the episodes. And so what we're doing now is we're bringing a policy into Chrome that allows Chrome to work similarly as that extension. You okay there, Steve?
Right. Yeah, no,
you look like you're struggling a little bit.
No. I'm good. I'm good. I had a fever early this week, and I got over it in a day, and then now it's kind of evolved into a little bit of a cough, and that's it. I'm all right. I'm all right.
RSV, or you hang out with Corona, or
no,
none of those?
I don't know. I don't. Are there different tests for all this stuff? I just have this COVID test. That's all I have. Took that, came back negative. Yeah. I haven't caught it yet as far as testing for it goes. I haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had it once. But it was totally worth it. We went to the Splunk conference this year.
I love it. You caught it at the conference.
Yep, we got it in Vegas. Yeah. What happens in Vegas does not stay in Vegas.
Did not stay in Vegas this time around. It came out of that.
But it was worth it. We got to see DJ Snoop Dogg, not Snoop Dogg. It was DJ Snoop Dogg for that.
Okay.
No, it was Snoop Dogg.
A relative?
No, it was
Snoop
just Dogg.
Snoop Dogg, but as a DJ, like a different personality.
Yes.
Wow.
He was the actual dude. Snoop Dogg's, spinning the discs.
Yeah. Wow.
Playing various songs, singing a couple words here and there over some of his songs. But he actually did a fantastic job. So it was worth it. I got to see Snoop Dogg.
I would expect nothing less from him, honestly.
It was also really hilarious because Snoop Dogg comes to the scene, to the stage, and all of a sudden, a cloud of smoke just comes from the front of the stage. You know what was happening in there. We were far behind, but yes, it was kind of fun. But that's how we got Rona.
Snoop Dogg is a local boy, Long Beach man out here.
Yeah,
made in Long Beach.
So
never see him around town, but
Of course, he's probably.
You gotta get out of your garage more often, Jesse. Come on,
that's fair. That's why I don't see him around. Yeah. All right, fine.
So back to our, not squirreling too far. I could squirrel all day.
We could.
I know.
Three of us. Jeez.
The 3 of us are horrible. But
we need an unscripted episode. I think
we totally need an unscripted, but
we need a whole day for that. Then we just need a dedicated day.
Yeah. Oh God, I can already imagine. So we're coming up with a policy in Chrome that will allow you, when it's enabled, to pick up the Azure token as part of the authentication flow. So think about when you go to office.com and you want to sign in with your corporate account, or anything that actually now integrates with your Azure AD, because Office uses Azure AD, right, for authentication internally, right, in the backend, right? Microsoft's authentication, right? So when you use Microsoft authentication technologies with the policy, instead of being challenged like, hey, what's your email address? What's your password? Oh, now I don't know you. Let me put your MFA challenge, right? All of that stuff is gone. Or also the context-aware stuff that you have, you can put in place in Edge. Pretty much the functionality should be now the same because you're able to get that same identity token from the OS directly on Windows. So that's awesome in my opinion. Which brings the conversation to a couple of other things. Let's say you're a Microsoft shop, but you also have Google Identity. If you have Google Identity and you sign into Chrome, right? And if you integrate those two together, so now let's say you start Chrome out of the box, and it says welcome to Chrome, enter your email address, so you can enable Google Sync, right? joeschmo@company.com, press enter. Google knows that this is SSO enabled to Microsoft, redirects to Microsoft. Microsoft says, hey, let me get your authentication token. Do you have it? Chrome says yes, I got it from the OS side. Boom, redirect automatically back to Chrome, to Google, right? Welcome to Chrome. Thank you for signing in. Do you want to enable sync? Press yes, and you're done. So that experience now becomes really magical from that perspective, right? To use some Apple words. But it really streamlines that and that experience for users.
How long does that process take when they're logging in?
Seconds.
Nice.
Yeah. I might have a recording that I did. It was a meeting, so I don't necessarily want to show my other coworker on the call. But it's literally once you enable the policy, go to Microsoft, it's click. You'll see their URL redirect in like a split second, and boom, you're in Office with your account.
Amazing.
So it's really nice. So there's that Azure SSO, and that also brings up the conversation around, when you talk about Chrome browser management. And a lot of the things we've heard from customers are like, why should I use Chrome? Because I have Edge Sync, right? Because I pay the Exchange accounts and so forth, right? As part of the thing of using Chrome Browser Cloud Management, you can also use Google Cloud Identity. And we've gotten approval that you can now use Cloud Identity free. There's that Cloud Identity free, SKU. You can go into the admin console and request add the SKU under subscriptions. That gives you 50 licenses for free out of the box, right? There is a public form available on the Google's support page, and I can link it for you, Jesse, if you want. If you give me a second to get it, which allows you to petition to request more Cloud Identity licenses.
Yeah,
I'm actually going to give you the link.
There's some sort of special calculation into what you get, because rarely has it ever been 50 for me. I've always seen some random number show up there, anywhere from
30 or 50.
Oh no! There's never been anything consistent from a number. It's always been you have now 547 identity licenses.
So I'll tell you why you have that.
Like 5,422.
I'll tell you why you see that.
Yeah.
So a lot of that is also tied to like if you have Chrome OS upgrade licenses, that gives you Cloud Identity free, and some of those. So some other licenses grant you access to that too.
Yeah, but it never ends in a 0 or a 5 or anything like that. It's always random. It's just weirdly random. Yeah.
Not sure.
Yeah, I don't get it.
The idea behind this though is if you like Chrome Browser Cloud Management, I know that I mean we pitch this all the time. My job doesn't change if you use it or don't, right? My pay. I believe I have a lot of device management background before Google. I believe this is an amazing tool. This is why I'm doing this job. Otherwise, I would probably be doing something else. And even I was a customer in the past of a different company that was doing device management. So I've seen all aspects of that, right? So if you like Chrome Browser Cloud Management and you have that, you want to do more with it. So you want to enable Google Sync for your employees. Add Cloud Identity free. Use the link to bump up your limit to however many employees you have in your company. Yeah. You can now do Azure SSO provisioning if you want to, Azure provisioning, right? Or Okta provisioning or whatever. Integrate that with your SSO of choice. And now you can have still Google Sync. You can limit the policy, of course, to your domain. So now you can get people off of the Gmail address for syncing, where if they ever leave the company, they can take that with them, right? Such as bookmarks, passwords, history. That account gets hacked, and now you as a company are put at risk because that attacker has more information about you, right? So you can really elevate your security by getting cloud identity free. You get Google Sync, you get a much better experience for users, and for VDI too. You don't have to back up that profile anymore, right? Just let them sign in really quick if you do SSL.
Yeah, I was pulling up some of the numbers. I'm not putting any free numbers, and it is really weird. I have one environment, it's 57. The other one is 72. And the other one is 10,660. And these are all domains with like anywhere from, 1 user to 20 users. They're not big domains. So I don't know how they come up with that number. I really don't.
Out of pure curiosity, now that you got me, send me that one of those domains that has that weird number, one of the first ones. Just put it in the chat. I just want to see what it is out of curiosity.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll ping you all 3 of them. Yeah.
I'm more curious to see what the heck's going on. But to our topic, I strongly encourage you as a customer, if you're using Chrome Browser Cloud Management, get the cloud identity set up. You can sync with Google Cloud Directory Sync if you want to, or you can integrate with whatever identity you have, such as Azure, Okta, or whatever, where those tools can do the provisioning of those accounts in Google. And now you have it's a much better experience and a much better value for you, right? If you ever want to do Chromebooks, your users are in place as well, right? So it really simplifies your experience or streamlines your experience long term for a lot of other stuff. So that's all I had to cover. We did this in like an hour and change versus 3 hours.
We didn't hit. We didn't start recording the second I hit record, so it's only just under an hour at the moment. There were a couple of other things there that I wanted to bring up and ask about. One of them is something that recently just came out, is the fact that Google is adding another layer of testing for Chrome updates. There will be, as of February 2023, what they're calling a early stable preview in the update release cycle. You know anything about that?
Yes. It was actually in our release notes for 109. We were going through it yesterday with the Google update team. So what's going to happen is, it looks like they're going to do like a very, 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 very small percentage of stable rollout, and it's going to go before the communicated. So let's say, all right, let's pull up Chrome release schedule. If I go to that, the Chromium Dash schedule, let's say Chrome 110 is supposed to do stable release on February 7th, right? So on February 1st, which is a day after our stable cut, we will roll out a very small percentage to randos around the world, right? To start gauging for impact if it's breaking anything, right? I don't think there's going to be a control whether you can sign be away from out of that, so you can remove
Opt
yourself
out.
from that type. Opt out. That's the word. Yeah. ESL. So I don't know if there's going to be a control in place where we can opt out of that early stable yet or not. That brings a good conversation for me to talk with our team. But but at least they're starting to do that for sure. It's going to be with 110. And you can actually see this Chromium page that's public. It actually starts showing you the dates and when it's coming out.
I will throw that into the show notes.
Yeah.
chromium-appspot.com/schedule.
Yep. I use this a lot because I always forget when Chrome's coming out. It goes way too fast, and so this is very good. We've been very to the T on the schedule.
Yeah, well, even faster now that they switched to a 4-week cycle.
For now, yes.
For now, is that going to change?
Not that I know of yet, but I mean, there's always rumors that we're looking at going even faster. But for now, it's
Wow.
4 weeks.
What's the reason for going faster? Just curious.
Much faster way for us to apply patches or fixes and so forth and features.
Hmm.
We don't have to wait 4 weeks for a feature to come out. We can just decouple feet. I don't know. I'm not part of the decision making process for that, but 4 weeks has been really good for us versus 6 weeks. We've
Hmm.
been more, and as you know, this year has been a fantastic year when it comes to 0 days.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of those. I think I talked last episode, but for the listeners, if you think about it, an attacker now gets double bang for the buck. When they attack Chromium, they now get not just Chrome, but they get Edge, which is an extensive population due to the fact that it's forced upon you as a user, whether you like it or not, on your OS. And
Hmm.
by default, it starts on the OS as well, right? Unless you manually turn it off to speed up the startup of the application. Um, I digress, but the point is, now that they get double bang for the buck, we've been more aggressively hackers have been more aggressively working on trying to find various holes into Chromium. We are very transparent over the fact that hey, there's a 0 day because we want customers to update to be patched protected from that, and that's why you will see us communicate about 0 days and say hey, please go and get that update so you're at the highest level of security, regardless of what you see in the news from Forbes. Forbes is one of the
Forbes.
ones that usually recycles the title every 2 weeks. There's a few titles that are recycled for Google. There's a few titles recycled for Apple. It shows up in my newsfeed every so often, and I, roll my eyes. But yes,
Yep. I actually banned Forbes from my newsfeed for that reason because it's sensationalist bullshit. Millions of, Chrome
uh,
browsers exposed. Everybody,
uh, Google just gave you another reason to get off of Chrome.
10, 10 reasons to stop using Google Chrome. Yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately, yes.
Uh,
I
they
shouldn't
used
use
to
that
be
as an
so
example, but
great.
it
I don't
is.
know.
Yeah, and it's usually a couple of writers I noticed. There's always this couple of writers that reuse this stuff.
Yeah, other parts of the site are still great. I don't know.
I
They gotta
mean, I
stop doing that
mean,
kind of sensationalist garbage coverage.
if you think about it from a job perspective, that's job security with like minimal work. Take
Yeah.
last week's article, change a couple of words, change the version, paste, and you're just getting paid amazing money for.
Yep. That's not even the chat GTP lazy. That's just copy paste lazy.
Yeah, but that's why you've seen a lot of 0 days from us at Google is because of that. So we're more transparent than others on that. We're also much faster at releasing 0 day patches than
Hmm.
others on that. Others will have to take our code and refork it and test it and so forth. You know who you are. So yeah,
So on that note, when features are released into Chrome, are all features released into Chromium into the open source code, or is
no,
there?
no. There's
So
always
who?
gonna be
What's? Go ahead.
certain features are make sense for it to be out there, and certain features make sense for it to be Google secret sauce, right?
Hmm.
So yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, because when,
Well,
as you
speaking of
mentioned,
secret sauce,
yes. What do
well,
you
we
got,
talked
Steve?
about this on the car ride yesterday with Okta.
Ah, yes. Oi,
Yeah.
Okta's code base
Lots
leaked.
of secret sauce got leaked.
Yep. How many new Okta style startups are we going to see in the next 6 months?
I don't know.
I actually didn't even see it pop up on my news.
I didn't
Like,
either. I've
But
not seen it yet. It was
Where is
that
it?
was
Sleeping
it was
computer?
the first I heard from Jesse. Jesse is the
yeah,
source of news.
TechCrunch
I'm
they
plugged in. What can I
confirmed.
say?
Yeah.
Yeah, they breached their GitHub repositories. Suspicious access. Ouch.
Yep. Yep.
Uh,
Customer
that's good.
data not impacted. I love how they say that. It's like, okay, well, that's great, but your entire stick is now out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't even care about customer data at this point. That's source code. That's worse. That's gotta burn
Yeah.
badly.
Yeah.
So, yeah. that's kind of all I had. I mean, I know it's a lot of content that we covered. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 things. Just a couple things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad for an hour show.
Um,
Next time, I think we'll have to go more into having prepared screenshots for those of us who learn better visually.
of course, we'll definitely have prepared screenshots, or I will do
Or
live
demos.
demonstrations. Yes.
There we go.
For anyone that if you ever want to reach out to me, I am in the Mac Admin Slack channel. You'll find me there, or you can email me at the easiest way to remember. I always tell my customers is, hey, remember you talked to that Chrome guy? Cool. So email chromeguy@google.com. It goes to me, or
Love it.
so that's the easiest way to, because people will probably forget my name or whatever. But hey, that Chrome guy was on the Google Workspace recap. So
That's right.
yeah.
That's the Chrome guy. All right. Well, if anybody has any further questions, drop them in the comments below if you're over on the YouTube side, or hit us up on Twitter, or as Alex said, feel free to email directly chromeguy@Google. And yeah, let us know what you want to hear, what you liked about this show, what you want to hear next time, what we should focus on. We're going to try and do these quarterly in the next year, so hopefully the schedule abides and we're able to get all that out. So yeah, questions and comments, give us a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe, etc. Have a great week, a great year. We're done. That's it. The year's basically out.
Yeah, and if
Yikes.
there's something you didn't like that I covered, please let me know. I always take feedback.
Yeah.
Hey, Alex, you suck. Great. All good. And we'll improve on that.
It's the internet. We never have to tell them to be negative.
Lots
Never
of
stop
keyboard
them.
warriors.
Oh yeah, so many keyboard warriors. All right, so have a great rest of your year, everyone, and we will see you next time for our next Google Chrome browser update.
Happy Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whichever applies to you. And for Eastern Orthodox guys, Merry Christmas after the New Year, because they celebrate in January. So happy holidays to you guys.
Happy all of the holidays.
Yeah. Or for the Grinches, happy no holidays, right?
Happy no holidays. Happy it's really freaking cold all of a sudden.
Well, yeah. It's
Polar
been
vortex
pretty bad
coming through.
We had it was 15 degrees wind chill, which is unheard of in Seattle. So,
oh my god, it's 68 degrees here in sunny Southern California.
Yeah. Hey Google, how cold is it in Chicago?
too cold.
Minus 11 degrees.
Holy moly!
Is that Fahrenheit or Celsius?
Celsius.
Okay, Celsius. We should specify for our listeners because
Yeah,
it's minus 11 C.
that puts you at about 15 Fahrenheit.
15's pretty cold. Yeah.
Google
Well,
always gets upset. Like when one answers in the room and the other doesn't, they get upset at each other. They're like, something went wrong. I didn't answer that question for you.
12 Fahrenheit. I was very, very close. 12 Fahrenheit, which is the same as Seattle.
Nicely done. Well, Chicago looks like you're gonna get freezing temperatures, almost 0 degrees coming soon. So, it's
Alrighty.
brutal next 12 hours. All right, stay warm, Steve.